So what we want to do now is dive right into the draft. And what we kind of talked about was we're going to go one by one. I'm going to lead it off if that's okay, just for the first round, and then we'll kind of go off that. We don't want to just regurgitate everything you guys have already heard. The whole reason I wanted to do this roundtable was because of the unique perspectives that I have in conversations with my friends and just the fun back and forth camaraderie we've had. We're not paid to do that. Now, I mean, you want to pay us, but that's a different story. We're not paid for these picks, these thoughts, these ideas. It's just three Browns fans getting together to talk about it. We did our research the best we could, but we never got to meet these people. We just know what we know from what we've heard. Take it with a grain of salt. If you want to comment below, please do. Let us know who you want to take. These are just our opinions, and personally, I'm very happy with the regime right now, and I kind of trust where they want to go. I know we've won a lot of press conferences in the past with GM, especially Ray Farmer. When he was up there, I was like, yeah, but we saw how that worked out. But I really believe in Dorsey just because of his track record and what he has to say. And I don't know, the whole going dark thing, we know it works for LeBron, and we have some banners, or a banner to prove that. I'm not very hopeful for a banner in my near future, but you kind of know where I'm going there. So just to lead that off, the first pick in round number 1, first overall, I think Sam Darnold. I was on the Josh Allen train for a little bit. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, I like the experiment side of it. I like how he's going to sit for 2 years, because we just mentioned we have Tyrod Taylor and we have Drew Stanton. So if all goes well, maybe that's 2 to 3 years. As you brought up in the beginning, that's the ideal situation when you can bring in a quarterback and let him learn. I know the whole baptism by fire thing, and I believe in that theory too, but not at that position. The game's too fast. You need to get in the preseason games, make your mistakes, but then go make your mistakes on the practice squad. Not when we open against the Steelers on September 9th, I think it is. Darnold, I think he's got all the intangibles that we need. Strong arm, good frame. I know turnovers are a problem that he had in college, and I know watching Kaiser this past year, we were all frustrated with a great drive and a turnover, or a bad throw and a turnover. So I know that word kind of gives people some chills, but I think he is the best quarterback out there right now at number 1.
I just like to say that the Browns front office, if you had to rank them now in the league versus all the other execs, I would say they'd probably be top 5, maybe top 10 at worst, right? You got Elliott Wolf, whose father, Ron Wolf, was the greatest exec for the Packers for the longest time, and Elliott has gone to the Combine every year since 1996. So he's well versed in the Combine, which the underwear Olympics aren't that important when it comes down to it, but all the meetings, the stuff that we don't have, the physical, off the field stuff that they get knowledge on. He's a well-seasoned vet in that. And you got Alonzo Highsmith, also in that same group that worked with Elliott Wolf and played under Ron Wolf in Green Bay. You got obviously John Dorsey, and the fourth guy that they brought in as a consultant, Scott McLaughlin, the former Redskins GM. He actually turned the team around, and he got fired. And the same thing happened with Dorsey. He had 4 winning seasons. When John Dorsey goes dark, that a lot of owners didn't really like that, and I think that's part of what got him, fired in Kansas City. But if there's ever an owner, or maybe even some of the coaches that I would not want involved in some of my player search and player picks and stuff like that, it would definitely be our organization at this current moment. And with that said, I think my first overall pick for the Browns is going to be based off of John Dorsey's draft history. He's always been a prototypical guy. I'm not saying anything against Sam Darnold. I think he can be a very good quarterback. And all the quarterbacks that I was looking at, no matter who I would pick, I want them to sit for that first year. I know that's not always ideal, but I think that's what, going back to the Drew Stanton thing, that's why he was brought in, is to just bury that kid on the bench. And I'm actually going Josh Allen out of Wyoming. I know it's not a very popular pick among a lot of fans, but I've been on his train since 2016, right when he transferred into Wyoming and all that. And I just think that the things that are wrong with him can be fixed. And I think that Jordan Palmer has done wonders with both Sam and Josh Allen. And I really do believe that it really will be down to them too. And I don't know if John Dorsey has made his decision yet. There's some intangibles and some draft history with John Dorsey, and I think that's where he's going to lean on draft night.
You're breaking the tie, Jim?
I'm breaking the tie. The thing is, both these guys are Darnold and Allen. I've been going back and forth with them this entire offseason. I was on Allen. I'm kind of leaning more toward Allen for my final decision, though. I think getting Tyrod here helped the situation. I think Darnold was more capable if needed to be inserted into the NFL right now. He had a better chance of succeeding. Now with Taylor here, I'm actually going to go back to Allen. I think we can develop him. He can sit out year, 2, 3 maybe. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers sat out 3, 4 years before he jumped into it right there. I just like the big arm. I know they always say that, we want the big arm not, but Cleveland, the weather sucks. It's windy. It's horrible. You need somebody with an arm. Completion rate still a little bugs me about it, but I think as Chad said, a lot of that stuff can be corrected. And if you have the right receivers, as we already covered, what we have right now, I think there's a good chance that number will go up, so I'm going to go with Allen.
Everyone brought up a great point. Whoever we take, there is a fault with them in some capacity. Like I brought up turnovers for Darnold. I think that can be film, anticipation. We've already brought up the weapons that we have. I'm going to say we have a better offensive line than USC did. With Allen, if you could build a quarterback for Cleveland, big body, athletic, big arm, big hand. Can accuracy be coached? Possibly. Is it footwork? That could be coached. But there's a lot of things that go into it. So I think both answers are correct. I will say this, I will not be disappointed if either one of their names is called on draft night for the first overall.
Right, and to speak on that, I don't think anyone could be disappointed with whoever Dorsey and the other horsemen take, because their track record, for the most part, I mean, you're going to miss on a guy every once in a while, but they haven't missed a lot in the first round. And even the guys that John Dorsey did miss on. Eric Fisher was the first pick in the 2013 draft. He was a left tackle. Well, they moved him to right tackle, and he's been a Pro Bowl right tackle for the last 4 years. So they missed a little, but they didn't miss as much as they thought, that we've missed in the past with a lot of our front offices and all that. And to speak about the offensive line, both those guys had, Sam Darnold and Josh Allen, had horrible offensive lines. Even at a higher division and a higher quality program, they had some very poor offensive line at USC play this past year. And we're hoping that you get to see that if the Browns do go Sam Darnold, that you see the Sam Darnold from 2015, 2016, when he really lit it up.
Yeah, get back to that Rose Bowl was where we need to be, not this current Cotton Bowl. Pick number 4.
I'll go with a pick number 4 here. I'll start off. In my mind, it really comes down to you have your flavor of choice. Do you want the pass rusher in Bradley Chubb? Do you want a pure cover corner in Denzel Ward? Do you want that home run hitting running back to go and pair with Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson? Or do you want that do-it-all safety, nickel corner, and Minkah Fitzpatrick? I think those are the 4 guys that are there. And because I like some of the other running backs later in the draft, I'm actually going to go Minkah Fitzpatrick to give us some secondary help. That Greg Williams is really good at utilizing talent. He always says that you have to play at least 2 positions on the defense to be on my team. And Minkah plays probably 2 to 3. Where he's going to fit well or the best, we don't know yet. But Greg has been known in previous regimes and previous teams to play a little bit of a 4-2-5 with extra corners and safeties, and I think that he fits the bill. Really help that defense get off the field quick, get some turnovers, and turn the ball back to our offense and Tyrod Taylor.
For the 4th pick, I believe we got to take the best athlete, and I think one of the best people in this draft, and it may not be a huge need of ours, but I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. Possible talent level right there is too high to try to pass on. I know we got Johnson, I know we got Hyde. Running backs don't last very long, so I'm a little hesitant about taking him up that far, but I just think you can't pass up that talent. If he's available, which he may not be, but I would go with Barkley right there.
That's a real good point, actually, is that Barkley might not even be there, and the Giants like offensive linemen, they like defensive ends, they like to build their football team. At least Dave Gettleman, the new GM there, really likes the big guys, but that might be a generational talent that they can't pass on. We don't know that yet, but we're 5 days and 4 hours or something away from getting a first look at that. And I know I kind of cut you off.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I think I'd be happy with those 2 picks if they came. I mean, speaking of Saquon, I wrote in my blog a few weeks ago just the talent that he displayed there, where he took over the combine. I didn't see anything like that since Julio Jones a couple of years ago. And we saw how he skyrocketed back up the charts. A.J. Green was a clear number 1 coming out, and he became a clear-cut number 2. And unfortunately, as Browns fans, we know that all too well since we made a trade with Atlanta. But, so that talent is unbelievable. I agree with everything that Jim said. I also agree with all of your hesitations that you said.
Yeah.
Too high for that position, not necessarily a need per se, but a world-class talent. And I agree with Fitzpatrick. He was my number 4 for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks just because of everything you said, the multiple positions he can play in this defense. Playing at Alabama, you're going to learn how to play football. Nick Saban coaches the secondary, so you're going to learn. And I would have no problem with him. However, I went a little bit different, and I went with the unpopular pick right now, which is to trade number 4. So I have us trading with Buffalo, and the only reason I have us trading with Buffalo is because of the ransom we're going to get, which is the 2 picks. So I don't want to sit there in 12 and let all these people pass us up. So with that, I have us making a second trade to move back up to 7. So trading at 4 with Buffalo for 12 and 22, packaging those to Tampa Bay to move up to 7. And then with the 7th pick, I want Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. So again, a big homer, I know, but picking Ohio State players has turned out pretty well for everybody for the last couple of years, except for the Browns. I think Robisky was the last person we took, so yeah. But I just think you need a shutdown corner. So multiple positions, as you said, multiple times of having corners at nickel, to have multiple players out there to let Peppers be in the box like we talked about in the beginning, to let him be more of a freelance player, let him be an athlete at the line of scrimmage, or drop back slightly like he did in the Pittsburgh game to end the season where he was kind of hiding out at the second level and then made an interception. So you need a shutdown corner. You need a, pardon the phrase, a Revis Island. So I'd like to have Ward Island, please. Even with all of the acquisitions we made in free agency and the trades, we're just adding depth to that room. You're adding talent, and the kid's been a stud. Size is a little bit of a hesitation, mixed up with great speed, but hopefully his hand skills of jamming people off the line can make up for his not physical nature as of yet. But Denzel Ward is the pick that I would like to take.
So that's a good point. With if you can make the trade, if you can get that trade done and you do the whole 12 and 22 and you move back up to 7, I do believe Denzel Ward's still going to be there, because I don't think the Broncos are going to take a corner. You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks that teams are going to want to move up for that are still going to be left, especially if we take a quarterback, and let's say like Jimmy's thing, you know, he's worried that Barkley might be gone with the Giants. Well, there's still 3 quarterbacks, and we're not going to take another one. Maybe. We don't know. But there's a good chance that we're not going to take one. And if we trade out to let someone else come up and get one, those elite blue chip players are going to slide down the board, and you can easily get one at that 7th spot where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded with us.
Absolutely. Not to cut you off, but just to echo on that, there's more than just getting those 2 first-round picks. I want a lot more. I'll get deeper into it, but I also want to gain their 2 second-round picks, which we already know we have 3 of. So this would now give us 5 second-round picks. We would have 33, 35, 53, 56, and 64. So I understand that trading back, you're giving up a day 1 starter, maybe future Hall of Fame player, and either one of the players that they talked about, or Chubb, or whoever, because of what is going to happen above you. But I think that's just, there's so much holes we need to continue to fill on this roster that I think the value and the depth of this draft, as we're about to get into, is so deep that the more picks we have, the better. Whereas the whole Sashi Brown argument of, well, that's what he did all the time, was trade down and get picks. Well, we need players. Well, yes, but we're getting second-round picks, and we're going to get those players. Okay. Yes, I know. I'm wearing the same clothes 3 days in a row. No, I'm just kidding. It was just easier to film them all back-to-back. However, what did you guys think of the third one? I like my picks. I stand by my picks. I've been preaching them since my mock 2.0 in my blog, Catching Z's. And yes, there's been a lot of smoke screens. There's been a lot of talk, but we have as much of a guess as anybody else, as I said in that piece. I call everybody these analysts on ESPN that we follow. Of course we do, because that's their job, but they're weathermen. Either it might rain or it might not rain. They don't know. So we might go with this person one, or we might not. Their reaction is the same as ours on that night. So hope you guys really enjoyed this roundtable. I wanted to keep them under at least 11 minutes for each one, so that's why I broke them up. So let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you like about our picks, what you don't like, who you want. Put it all in the comments below. Please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you like it. So it's T-minus 1 hour till the draft. So we'll see what the Browns do. Good luck, boys, and we'll see you in the next one.